Hey guys, so haven't recorded a video in a while. There's a reason for that. I'm not going to get into it in this video, just because not even worth it. I'll go over it in one of my streams because I can interact with people a little bit better. So save that for then. In the meantime, however, I'm going over this article I discovered about a week ago. I was on vacation, and it just pissed me off beyond belief. So like there's some good that came out of it, right? So the result is still good, but this one had an effect of raising the bar up to like here for me, and I'm like, yeah, and then it like drilled all the way down to the center of the earth into the molten core, and just in like the span of a couple of seconds, and it just pissed me off so much. Had to do a bit of homework on it, and it pissed me off even more. So I'm sharing my frustrations with you all, and let's just get into it, because while I've got my steam going, I want to be able to channel that rage into something more productive, right? So let's go ahead. All right. So this is the article I saw. There's actually another article that is preceding this one, but we're going to go over this one. I'll switch over to the other article when it becomes more context sensitive. You'll see what I mean. So this article is about a Wisconsin school board. Really? All right, hang on. I'm not starting to record again. Fuck that. All right. So Wisconsin school board decided to revoke a previous decision to opt into the free lunch program that's going on right now in response to the pandemic, and how many families have been affected by it, especially the kids of such families, because that's what it's really about. And basically, this is a reflection from the school board members, well, some of them that had voted on it, and some good came of this. They did actually get free lunches for the children. It was all children, not just ones who are in need. All of families are affected by this, which is awesome. But let's just get into why I had to make a video on this. So, Wisconsin school board president who backtracked on canceling free school lunch says it opened his eyes. I eat a meal every day. I cannot relate to being hungry. So, see, just the picture I clicked on earlier of kids enjoying their free lunches. First up, before I even start, my apologies for pronouncing this wrong here. I'm going to say it's Waukesha. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. I'm terrible with enunciation and pronouncing words. This has historically been a problem for my channel because I'm an idiot. So it's no one else's fault but my own. You can totally roast me in the comments if you want. I totally deserve it. So let's get into this. Waukesha was the only school district in Wisconsin to opt out of Biden's free lunch program. I just want to correct them there. It's not actually Biden's program. This is a U.S. Department of Agriculture, I believe. I think it's what it says in the other article. But everyone keeps opting this towards being Biden's thing, and it's like, no, whatever. Maybe, I don't, whatever. I'm not getting into it. So let's see. This week they opted back in because of backlash. But the vote was really, really close. It was like 5-4, which makes me just think that they were going to possibly fuck this up if they revoted on it. You know how that goes, where they'll vote on it one time, fuck it up, and then fuck it up a second time, and third time's a charm, right? Or sometimes no time is a charm, just they never get there. But this time they did, so let's give them props. I'm not touching this poo with a 10-foot pole, all right? Just don't even. All right, I'm going to go out of my way to say, if you bring this shit to my comments section, I'm going to outright just delete comments. I don't give a fuck, right? Just warning you now. I have no patience for it. So, let's go over this. So the school district in Waukesha, Wisconsin voted in June to opt out of President Joe Biden's free lunch program, with one member arguing children and families should become spoiled by free meals. We'll get into that. Nearly 2 months later, after widespread criticism, the district opted back in and acknowledged it didn't know how many children go hungry. The Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel reported on Monday there was a 5-4 vote. Waukesha School Board rescinded its decision and opted back into the pandemic free lunch program, which gives meals to all K-12 students regardless of income. So basically, kids from basically up until college, from when they first start in kindergarten all the way through graduation, get free meals regardless of whether or not they can opt into a different program that they had before, right? And that's important. That's important because with the pandemic and whatnot, everyone's been economically impacted, and this is just a way to alleviate families from having to make sacrifices make sure that kids don't get malnourished and they go hungry, because that's really terrible, right? I mean, the outcome of that, being like kids suffer, right? That's the terrible part, not the parent family sacrificing. That is also terrible, but you know what I mean, right? At least I hope you do. Let's see. Superintendent James Siebert. That is Siebert, right? Yeah. Okay. Cool. I have a terrible problem mispronouncing names, so I apologize. James Siebert asked the members to reconsider. After weighing feedback, the board's president, Joseph Como, had said he'd been unaware of the situations of hunger in the district. I appreciate your input very much, Como said at the meeting on Monday. According to the Journal Sentinel, I eat a meal every day and cannot relate to being hungry. I've been blessed. Yes, you have, sir. Trust me. As someone who has gone without food, actually multiple times in my life, I can tell you it isn't a pleasant situation to be in, all right? So, like, I'm not going to take that away from him and say, like, oh, he's a privileged piece of shit for not having been in that situation. But, it did take him, backlash in order to consider that fact. So, yeah, he got there in the end, but after a colossal fuck up, right? So, credit where credit's due. He got there eventually. It's the eventually part that really bothers me. Oh, let me scroll up, scroll down. There we go. Don't know why these pictures aren't loading. Whatever. Let's see. Another member, Greg Dietz, said he had voted to opt out of the program because he hadn't known the extent at which students in the district go unfed. I can actually speak on this. A lot of people don't know this, but I'll give numbers at the end of this set of articles. But there's a lot of people in America that go hungry. All right, like just every day, right? And it sucks. And this is a preventable problem. We could definitely donate to food banks more. We could definitely think of our neighbors more. When our neighbors are struggling, help them out a little bit. Every little bit helps, right? There's a lot of little things that can be done to prevent this type of problem. And a lot of people just don't know that, right? So I would hope that people making decisions on this would be informed, but some of them are just not informed. And now I know ignorance isn't an excuse. On the other hand, I can see where they would fuck up, right? And like I can give them kudos for at least reconsidering and understanding, oh shit, this happens, right? Let's see. So let's continue on with this. Let's see. I made the earlier votes without really looking at the implications, and I wasn't really informed, and I apologize for that. Well, at least he admits his fuck up and has reconciled that difference. The truth is that many of our students are hungry throughout the day, and we have the ability to do something about that. Yes, you do, sir, and I appreciate it. I really do. And I'm not. This doesn't even affect me, but I appreciate this from a personal viewpoint. The other members didn't feel the same way. At the meeting, the Journal Sentinel reported Karen. Karen, she's a Karen. I'm not even going to grace her with a last name. Who made headlines for saying free school meals could make students and families spoiled. A basic biological necessity is feeling spoiled, right? Just want to point that one out there. I can only imagine her saying, "Oh yeah, like breathable air is also being spoiled," She defended her comments and said she had been speaking from her own experiences of feeling spoiled by free meals for her children. Other members described the board's changing course as giving in to intimidation. I'm pausing for a silence here because it's of my opinion, right, that if you are a public servant and you do some fucked up shit, right, that you should have to answer to the people that you're responsible for making that decision for. So the fact that whoever this more board member is, that they feel intimidated, you should be scared of the decisions you make impacting real people. If you're not, then you shouldn't be there, because that means you don't even remotely consider other people. You're not thinking about it. You're just thinking about you, like Karen over here, right? And before I dig into her, right, I'm gonna finish off this part of the article. We're gonna go to the first article that is the is why they had to rescind their decision, right, and do a revote. Let's see, if it's food and free lunch today, it'll be forced masking, forced whatever we want to do in schools because the mob will have the power to tell us what to do. Anthony Zanova said, according to the Journal Sentinel. What? Fuck me. Waukesha had been the only school district in Wisconsin to opt out of the pandemic free lunch program, which really does say a lot, right? The program extends through spring of 2022. Choosing to remain in a national school lunch program, which requires families to apply for free or reduced priced school meals, which is the older method of giving, I guess, relief to those types of families. It's a student that's in the lunch line that stands there when there isn't any money to pay the bill. It's the student that has to go back and sit at the table, Dietz said on Monday. I think we should do whatever we can so that students in our district don't have to experience those situations. And so for that, I only have one thing to do. Seriously, without the bullshit. Like, it must be really hard to have to eat crow for these people and actually acknowledge the fact that they fucked up and then do something about it, right? So I'm not even being sarcastic, right? That's actually a really good outcome for families and the students, those that belong to those families at their school district, because I imagine this impacts quite a few kids, right? Poor bastards. I didn't come from money really all that much. We were well off, at least well enough to put food on the table, but not always. Sometimes we had to go a little bit hungry, right? And there wasn't the best quality food, so even we had food, right? So that was, I'm glad that they can enjoy that, right? They can enjoy basically what everyone else should have, right? Or everyone should have, right? So that warms my fucking heart, right? But let's go back to the original article. This is the follow-up article, right? Let's go back to the original article, and it's this one. A Wisconsin school district says students can become spoiled with free meals and opt out of Biden's free lunch program. I have a feeling this whole Biden's free lunch program is a way to make this political, right? I just have a feeling about that. I can't prove it, but it just feels that way. Let's see. Wisconsin's Waukesha School District opted out of the federal free meal. Okay, this is all shit we already know. All right, there we go. Let's see. A federally funded U.S. Department of Agriculture program. So it's not Biden's program. Just want to point that out. U.S. Department of Agriculture is an entirely different branch of the government. Just wanted to point that out. The U.S. Department of Agriculture program that was launched in April gives free meals to all K-12 students, regardless of income. But students who are in the Waukesha School District won't get to participate in that program, and is the only district in Wisconsin to opt out of it. The reason for opting out was that families could become spoiled. Sorry, I have to take a pause. Make sure I remain my composure. Milwaukee's NPR station first reported last week on June 9th, the Waukesha School Board have voted to forego the pandemic-free meal program that extends through June 30th. And now we already know that it's going to go on until 2022. So while many lawmakers and advocates say the program was necessary to prevent child hunger during the pandemic, the district's board members opposed the program and said families that could afford to feed their children should do just that. I had 3 kids. I had them, and I'm going to feed them. I feel that that's a responsibility of the adult. Karen said, a board member during a May meeting. So I feel that this is a big problem, and it isn't really easy. Fuck me. It's really easy to get sucked into and become spoiled and think it's not my problem anymore. It's everyone else's problem to feed my children. I can give her this much credibility in what she said, right? Just this much, though. Yes, adults have responsibility. No children shouldn't suffer because of shitty decisions on behalf of the adults, though, right? And even then, it may not even be decisions. Economic circumstances go beyond just, decisions. There are factors outside of people's control, like getting laid off, just the economy in general, a pandemic, for fuck's sake, things like that, right? So it's not just the adults' decisions, right? I do understand that there are 2 sides of this, but I'm more on the side of not letting children suffer versus Karen gets to fucking tell her what to do, right? For real. She's thinking about herself here, as evidence from the second time they asked her about this, and she's like, oh yeah, I feel it's because of me. And I'm like, well, what about everyone else? And what about the people you're making decisions for, right? If you're supposed to be a public servant, you're supposed to be thinking about those people, not you. I don't understand that shit at all. I do not. Why would you be on the school board if not to help people, unless your goal was to be an absolute prick, right? I don't see it. I really don't see it anywhere in the middle. I really don't. Either you want to make impactful decisions or you want to be a twat, right? Evidently she knows which one she was going in for, right? Instead of allowing any student to qualify for free school meals, Waukesha voted to return to the school lunch National School Lunch Program, which requires families to fill out an application and qualify for free or reduced price school meals. According to the data from the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction, 4249 students from Waukesha qualified for free and reduced price meals in 2018 to 2019. 36% of the student body. That's a significant percentage, just without the bullshit. That is over a third. Just want to point that out, to kind of put that in perspective for you. The department said the district could choose to opt back into the program anytime, and some families hope it will. Heidi Chada, a parent in the district, told Milwaukee's NPR she hoped the board would reconsider its decision. My question is, why are we the only school district who is opting out and saying eating a meal every day is not important for the health of our students, she said. That's a really good question. I mean, if you're like hungry, you're not getting like the nutrients you need to feed your brain. Your brain takes a lot of calories, right? When you're sitting there thinking, you're burning calories, right? That's why a lot of programmers, just speaking from personal experience, a lot of programmers eat at their desks, at least when you can. And it's usually like high carbs because they need that burst of energy, right? It's not good. It's not healthy for them to continually eat like that. But I'm just saying there's an explanation for it. It's not just the fact that we're fat fucks, right? But yeah, like that. If the students are distracted with hunger, their education is going to suffer, right? Potentially, probably, actually, not even potentially. And they're not getting the nutrition they need, so that even further exacerbates the problem. And why should the students have to suffer for that when this is easily preventable, right? Especially when they already have tax money set aside for it. When the USDA announced the extension of the free meal program in April, the department said it would reach an estimated 12 million kids that are food insecure. I want to think that's 12 million kids across the country, not just in Wisconsin. That would be obscene. It's a win-win for kids, parents, and schools, Agriculture Secretary Tom Viselak said at the time. I think that's true, actually. Yeah. Everyone wins, right? With better students, the schools look good, right? The parents are less economically burdened, and the kids get a better education and full bellies, right? And that warms my heart, right? So this fucking Karen bitch is the whole reason I had to make this thing, right? I had to, like, for real, like with her fucking quote, with her very one-dimensional take on it, where she's like thinking about herself in typical Karen fashion, right? Where is she? I'm actually thinking maybe these pictures are of that bitch, and I'm glad they didn't show up. All right, just for the bullshit. Because I'll put a name to the face, and that's not good. It's in here somewhere. Whatever. So I point out these guys who said that they didn't understand the extent of the problem, they could have just gone online, right, and did a basic Google search for how many people go hungry a year, which I did. All these articles are right here. I found various different numbers. It's kind of like just up and down, depending on different data and all that good shit, right? I'm seeing statistics from 1 in 6 from this National Geographic article that was published. Oh, I think it was last year. Yeah, the end of last year. Versus there was a Washington Post. Did I seriously copy this one twice? Yeah, I did, didn't I? This one. Oh wait, hang on. That wasn't copied twice. Hang on. There we go. I actually archived it. Yeah. I'm stupid. Sorry about that. This one said 1 in 8. So 1 in 8 is pretty bad. That's 12.5%. 1 in 6 is even worse, right? Because I know my basic fractions. Because I had a full belly in school, right? At least for a good portion of it, not all the time though. And so, yeah, like that's fucking awful. I'll link all the shit in the description so you can follow along and you can kind of, call me out on my bullshit if I'm missing something here. But yeah, I went to various different sources. This source was saying more than 42 million people may face hunger just because of the pandemic, which is probably why we have a program to help kids, because kids shouldn't suffer. We already let adults suffer enough, right? The kids shouldn't have to suffer as well, right? And they're saying something like 13 million children. Again, I don't know how to collect their data, but it sounds about right. I'm seeing a lot of these articles. These are the ones I picked for this video. But they're all around about, anywhere between 11.5 to like 13 million, which is a lot of kids. And the rest of them are like adults, or maybe young adults who are not quite like college students, things like that. We all know that, there's a stereotypical college student that eats ramen noodles and eats very poorly. I mean, I was there myself, right? So, you know, I would imagine it's just because shit happens, right? Like economic situations occur, like life situations occur where you can't. Like for example, I actually got diagnosed with extreme stress related fatigue because I lost 9 pounds. I wasn't eating properly, even though I could afford it. I just didn't have opportunities to eat because I was being overworked. Right? Like that happens. Not making this about me. I'm just saying. Even though I have been homeless and I have had to go without food many times in my life. Several times as a child, I had to go without food, even though we had food available for the most part. Not always. Sometimes situation was much more difficult. Um, and I'm allergic to a lot of food, so I couldn't eat what everyone else is eating. When I was an adult, I had to live on the streets, and that meant that I had a budget of about $2 a day to eat on. And sometimes I would actually just skip a meal the previous day so I can actually go to say like McDonald's and have like a McDouble and some fries, right? Which at the time was a luxury item. I know a lot of people who went to prison. And they would tell me that the cup of noodles, the ramen noodles, that was like a luxury item for them, and because just they they weren't getting enough from the prison food, right? So there's a lot of people that go hungry, and we don't give a shit in this country. We don't give a shit in general, right? We could definitely do better on this. We could donate to food banks, right? I've actually worked at food banks, volunteered, be more accurate, because I don't want to take any kind of financial incentive for it. Like I want to kind of feel better about myself because I'm in a much better situation because I benefit from food banks several times in my life. I've been given food by my neighbors and my friends and whatnot, and like yeah, I understand. Like sometimes you just got to pull together, and you can't do it on your own. And so I do volunteer to give food to the homeless, and either by giving my time to go to the food banks or actually going out of my way to fill my old backpacks filled with food and supplies and whatnot, um, and giving them out to random homeless people that I see fit. I've actually had people approach me because they know about me through this. They say, "Oh yeah, you're that motherfucker," and I'm like, "Yeah, I am." And they're like, "Well, I've heard about you. Can you help out?" And I'm like, "Well, maybe I can't right now. Maybe I can." It's really based upon whether or not I'm able to at all. I almost always try to, but I can't always, right? And it kills me not to be able to do that. So to have people thinking of themselves just breaks my heart, right? I go out of my way to think about other people. I know I'm a horrible bastard, right? Like, I don't even like many people. I just relate to their struggle. And so that's why I'm motivated to do it, right? I can feel their struggle. I've been there. And other people really just need to get to that lesson without having to live it themselves. Because we'll end up with fucking idiots like the stupid Karen bitch who aren't thinking about anyone else at all. She's thinking about how she feels spoiled because she can take care of her responsibilities. She doesn't have this problem. Well, too bad for you. But like everyone else does kind of struggle at least at some point in their lives. So I want to make this specifically to address that. This is something that is impacts me very personally, and I'm glad I got to share it with you all so you can come to your own conclusions. All right, thank you very much. I'll see you in the next one.